Everything has got to be cozy and comfy and soft and in perfect order. And oh, she's just so precious the way she handles herself. It's just so annoying. Hey guys, I'm Devin Harrington, the Average Gen Xer. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're taking a look at the second half of my take on longtime online influencer Alexandra Rodriguez. If you want to see part one, I'll link it below. And before we get into it, I just want to say my apologies for last week's video. I made a rookie mistake with my editing and all the images got out of sequence and it was just a big mess. So I'm sorry about that. But moving on to part two of Alex. So the years went on. Alexandra continued to vlog her life and all her clothes and makeup and relationships and friendships and all her vacations and basically all your stuff you go through when you're a girl in your 20s. And she got very successful at it. I mean, I said this in the first video. I give this woman props because she has made a very good income basically filming herself being her dumb self and indulging her shopping addiction. And she's made tons of money doing it. So if you can figure out how to make a living doing what you love to do, good for you. But the more money she makes, the more pointless shopping she seems to do. And I mean, call me old and out of touch, but I don't know why anyone gives a shit what she buys at the grocery store. To each his own, I guess. So, as you might imagine, Alex's goal in life was to get married and have kids. And so eventually she met a guy named Yarman, who seems like a very nice guy. And they eventually got married. They eloped during the pandemic, and then they had a real ceremony in her gorgeous backyard about a year later. And she really is raking it in because she lived at the time in Massachusetts, and I'm from Mass too. And she had this big house, gorgeous house, and humongous backyard, which does not come cheap in a small state like that. So Yar, as she calls him, her husband, is not overweight, interestingly. And in fact, he's in the army and he's pretty fit and he seems to be really into fitness and eating right and all of that. And there's, of course, a ton of videos out there now online wondering if he's a trophy husband. Is he with her because she's got tons of money? I've read somewhere, I think on Reddit, so who knows if it's true, but she paid off his student loans and blah, blah, blah. There's just all kinds of people wondering if there's some kind of fakery going on. He appears to have the patience of a Tibetan monk because this guy is just so laid back. The way he puts up with her obnoxious, self-absorbed, controlling personality. And yes, I know we only see what she edits into her vlogs, but from what I see, she's fucking shallow and self-obsessed. And she's always got to have her way, you know, she's always got to control everything. Definitely a control freak. I don't really know what to think of them. I don't know. They seem like a real couple to me, but who knows? So anyway, they got married and just, you know, same old vlogs, shopping hauls, piling on absurd amounts of makeup. I mean, she's good at doing her makeup. I know, she went to cosmetology school for a minute back when she was younger, and that would have been a great career for her because she does seem to have a knack with makeup. But she just puts so much on that it really tickled me when I was watching Priscilla P's channel, which if you like to watch reaction channels and have a fascination with Alex, go check out Priscilla P. She calls her Marcel Marceau, which is only us older folks will get that reference. Marcel Marceau was a French mime back in the day, and he was pretty famous. And this is what he looks like. So now that she's married, and she's settled down in her own house, and now there's just no end to the grocery hauls and the cooking and the baking and the just constant shopping. And I mean, she also does, like, go pick up your groceries or have your groceries delivered, and I don't fault her for that. I mean, I haven't been in a grocery store since the pandemic either, when you can just order it on your phone and it shows up. Why not? But this girl is a fucking shopping addict. I mean, serious problem here. She is one of those people that you can tell she gets a huge dopamine kick from wandering around a store and picking up everything and looking at it and talking about it and what she likes about it. And it's just endless. And I'm not a shopping person, so I think that's why it gets on my nerves. Like, I just want to go into a store, see what I want, buy it. If it's clothes, just try it on, have it fit. I don't like to spend ridiculous amounts of time perusing, as she calls it. She's like a kid. Every vlog I've seen, and she does have money to burn now, so she's able to buy the absolute most useless shit that nobody needs. So time goes on and time goes on, and she's got a pretty big platform now, and she seems to get, I mean, like, endless PR packages from makeup and clothing companies. And she's, I don't know that I've ever seen her actually wear any of the shit that she buys and or gets for free. And she gets all this stuff for free, and I've heard that she sells it, or her mom sells it for her on Poshmark, which, you could be doing something good for the community. You could be donating stuff like that to a women's shelter. You could. Anyway, so she continues on her way. In addition to her shopping addiction, she clearly has a food addiction. And I say that because I have struggled with sugar addiction since I was a kid. Um, she has mentioned that, she emotionally eats due to trauma. I totally relate, totally get it. But she just continues on her merry way, eating all this crap on camera. And so she continued to gain weight because of the way she eats and buying into this bullshit health at every size stuff. And, oh, you're perfect just the way you are. I don't understand what it is with the body positive community, that they're all about loving yourself as you are, and yet you're not allowed to love yourself enough to change, like to lose weight or to decide to give up sugar or stop eating processed crap or give up fast food or trying to get in shape. If you try to change, then you're not body positive, which makes zero sense to any logical person. If you love yourself, really, you are going to try to be the best version of yourself. You are going to keep trying to improve yourself until the day you take your last breath, because that's what's the fucking point of life otherwise. Anyway, so these body positive folks, they get their giant knickers into a big twist if anyone says that they don't want to be fat anymore. It's so stupid. They just want to make any excuse, like not to make an effort. I don't understand it. And again, call me old and out of touch, okay? So in 2022, Alex told her many, many viewers that she was having gastric bypass surgery, and good for her. She went through with it. Apparently, she did the prep correctly and followed the doctor's orders enough to get the surgery. I admire her for going to that length to try to control her weight. And you would think, I mean, there's so many people online these days that have had gastric bypass surgery that share their stories. I'm sure everybody was very excited for her, because this is bypass surgery is where they cut your stomach out so that it's like the size of an egg. So you just cannot eat. You can't eat sugar. You're not supposed to drink alcohol anymore. She's not a big drinker from what I've seen, but you can't, you just cannot eat the way you used to. And it helps people lose a shit ton of weight in a short amount of time. And so I'm sure everyone that supports her was very excited for her. But if you know anything about Alex, she just seems incapable of pushing herself or doing anything hard. She just seems to be someone who cannot finish what they start, who doesn't have the mental strength to push through things when they get hard. And so, as you might imagine, about a year after the gastric bypass surgery, she puts out a video called Addressing My Failed Weight Loss Surgery. Like the surgery failed her. She lost, it's debatable, but 90 to 100 pounds directly after the surgery. And then the weight loss just stopped because it's freaking obvious that she doesn't follow the doctor's directions. I mean, every day she's ordering groceries from Whole Foods and then she shows you everything she eats, and it's fucking snacks after processed garbage after it's I've never seen someone who is so obsessed with having snacks on hand everywhere. She's like the alcoholic that has to hide little nip bottles, little bottles, those mini bottles of alcohol, have to hide them all over the house in case you need one. She's got freaking snacks everywhere. This girl seems to do nothing except drink sugary coffee drinks and bake and shop for snacks. And she's always talking about needing something to snack on. Well, I bought this in case we need something to snack on. Nobody needs a snack. Nobody in the Western world where food is plentiful ever needs a snack. If you eat normal, regular meals that are not full of processed trash, you don't need a snack. I don't know how she hasn't figured out that she needs all those snacks because she eats sugar and her brain is constantly trying to get that dopamine kick from the sugar. And she probably has a blood sugar thing from drinking sugary coffee in the morning. And I say all of this as, yes, guilty. I used to do the same thing. So I'm sure that's what it is. I'm not a doctor, and this is just my opinion, but it is what it is. And then she's constantly saying how tired she is. And like I said, she eats so much processed junk, pasta, bread. She says she doesn't eat pasta and bread, but she's got her protein pasta. And I mean, the amount of bread she buys can't just be for her husband. So she is eating processed stuff. And pasta and bread is like, good processed food, to say nothing of all the sugar that she eats. And she's constantly saying how tired she is and how she has to take a nap at 2 o'clock, like most days. She's just like, oh, I'm just so tired. I just crash at 2 o'clock. And that really caught my attention, because I used to start when I was her age. I used to start every day with a sweet coffee drink, like a bazillion packets of Splenda in it and flavored creamer and all this garbage. And it just goes downhill from there. When you start with a blood sugar spike, an insulin spike like that at the beginning of the day, it just primes your brain to constantly be craving sugar and to be tired. And that has been my existence for most of my life until just in the past few years, because as you get older, you can't take it the way you used to. And Alex is now in her early 30s, and I am sure that when she hits 35, the shit is just going to hit the fan. She talks about how her blood pressure is perfect and her labs are perfect and her cholesterol's perfect, but it's only a matter of time. So now we are up to about 2023, and she did lose a considerable amount of weight from her gastric bypass, and she started trying to get pregnant. And I don't think they tried very long. I don't know if she said that, but she did have a miscarriage in 2023, which is very common, extremely common. And I don't know that it has anything to do with her weight. I'm sure people told her that, but women of all sizes can miscarry. It's nothing to be feel guilty about. Just want to say that. But then In March of this year, 2024, she announced that she was well into her first trimester with the pretentious and annoying pregnancy photo shoot and all. Uh, she also did a video about having to leave her doctor's office, her OBGYN, because they instituted a BMI limit. And there was a shit ton of pearl clutching on her part going on about that because, oh my God, so fat phobic. They asked her if she could only gain 10 pounds during her pregnancy. And of course, she was like, no fucking way. Uh, and there was a video about that, as per usual. She takes no responsibility for her problems. She seems to be everybody's victim. And I'm sure that's another reason why people hate watch her or annoying watch her. So now she's made it to the second trimester and they're having a boy. Spoiler alert. And of course, like everything else, she won't follow directions. So she's like in the middle of a high risk pregnancy and she shows herself cooking cream cheese and cheese upon cheese upon cheese and bacon, Starbucks egg bites. And bacon is on the list of stuff that pregnant women are not supposed to eat. Never mind pregnant bariatric patients. And she even says in that particular video, yeah, I know it's not healthy, but get over it. It's, I'm sure I'm not alone in saying I just fear for that poor kid. And so the train wreck keeps rolling and it's endless grocery food hauls from Whole Foods. The other thing I watched the other day, she just had 13 bags of stuff from Whole Foods and constant shopping for crap that she doesn't need. The number of decorative pillows this woman buys makes normal people want to throw up. It's just such a waste of money. I mean, if you have that much money that you can just go to Target every day, and yes, I know Target's her happy place because she used to go there with her mom when she was a kid every Sunday, but whatever. Her mom is in her vlogs a lot, and you can see that she gets a lot of her ways from her mom. But of course, now she's all about buying every possible useless thing they make for babies. The shopping addiction, which she laughs about, because it's her money. She can spend it the way she wants. But I'm sure this is why people think she's insufferable, because you could be setting a good example if you wanted to be a good example, since you have such a large platform. You could be donating stuff. You could be, partnering with charities. It just is such a waste of resources and buying all this crap that she's just going to replace and buy something else in its place, in not very long. So I'm sure that there are plenty of annoying vloggers online, but Alex definitely seems to draw a certain crowd of people who just watch her to be annoyed by her because they just cannot believe that a 32-year-old woman or however old she is acts like this and lives like this and puts it out proudly online. And I think she gets on my nerves mostly because the only thing I have in common with her is being from Massachusetts and struggling with sugar addiction. But I tend to overanalyze things, so here's some of why she gets on my fucking nerves. Okay, first of all, she eats on camera. She eats on camera and she talks with food in her mouth. And it just makes me want to take a fucking baseball bat to those massive cheeks of hers. I just cannot stand it. And I have horrendous misophonia. If you didn't know, there actually is a name for when hearing a certain sound makes you crazy, just puts you in a rage. It's called misophonia. It's a real thing. There's a word for it. The description of it is a disorder in which certain sounds trigger emotional or physiological responses that some people might perceive as unreasonable given the circumstance. Those who have misophonia might describe it as when a sound drives you crazy. Their reactions can range from anger, in my case, fucking rage, and annoyance, to panic and the need to flee. So if you didn't know there was a name for it, now you know. She also has this just childish, I mean, she acts like a teenager. I think we can all agree she's like emotionally and intellectually stunted to like 17 years old or so. She's got this stupid habit of shortening words. Situation. We're going on vacation. Oh, that's delish. And as per usual, the tapping of her stupid acrylic fingernails on everything, and the way she describes everything as a vibe or a moment. I mean, she really is stunted emotionally and intellectually, just all around. But I think the most repulsive and insufferable thing about her is just her abject weakness. And I mean that mentally and physically. She just seems incapable, as I said earlier, of doing anything that is hard or pushing herself in any way. You know, she'll throw up a workout video and say, "Oh, I just did my cardio," and there's not a drop of sweat on her. She's not breathing heavy. Everything has got to be cozy and comfy and soft and in perfect order. And oh, she's just so precious the way she handles herself. It's just so annoying. Okay, so I realize we don't see her whole life on camera, but I really have yet to hear her have any kind of intelligent conversation about anything other than herself or her clothes or her next vacation. She's just shallow and vacant, in my opinion, of course. And she's a total control freak, too, which is probably why she can't ever follow doctor's orders. This woman had gastric bypass surgery, which is a major surgery, paid for by her insurance. And from what I've seen, she's just blown off all the instructions about how you need to eat after this kind of surgery. I mean, we've all seen My 600-Pound Life. We all have some idea of how these folks are supposed to eat and how careful you have to be and how you cannot just graze all day long because you can undo the benefits of the surgery. And it's just, she's still morbidly obese, and she just acts like, oh, well, not everyone who has bypass comes out thin. No, you don't have to be thin. You have to follow directions. You have to give up all the fucking snacks. You have to give up the processed food. You have to change your lifestyle when you have this surgery so that you don't stay looking like the size of a fucking refrigerator. She did a video about her failed weight loss surgery and saying not everyone who has this surgery comes out thin. Well, yeah, everyone who follows their doctor's orders to the letter and eats the way they're supposed to and doesn't drink carbonated crap and doesn't eat sugar and doesn't eat processed carbs, they come out a lot smaller than her. And of course, she started gaining the weight back. It's just the weakness that just drives me insane. I mean, she just waddles on her merry way and goes and buys more snacks like it's normal. This chick is afraid to tell her esthetician not to do extractions on her acne-prone face because it hurts. I mean, you don't want extractions? Fine. Tell them, I don't want extractions. But how the fuck is this girl going to give birth and deal with the aftermath of what that can do to the female body? It's just, everything about her just screams weakness and soft and squishy and just, she is to me the worst example of the bloated, entitled American, just gorging herself every day, over consuming everything, everywhere, all the time, whether it's food or shopping or, oh, we need to go on a little vacation. And then she comes back from a vacation And she's like, well, I need a reset. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. Just constantly throwing money away on useless trash. It's really nauseating. And that's why she attracts so many hate watchers. So, on behalf of all Americans to the rest of the world, I plead with you, please do not think we are all like this girl. I mean, she is like the poster child of the horrible, entitled white American chick. And ugh, it just skeeves me out. So, who knows if she's going to make it through the pregnancy? Morbidly obese women are able to have healthy pregnancies and healthy babies. And so that is certainly a possibility. But once the baby arrives, that's when the real show begins. Because Alex is so coddled and spoiled, and her entire life is just one fucking cake pop after another. And she needs desperately to be the center of attention at all times. How is she going to handle having an infant to care for? Especially when she's likely to be pushing 400 pounds by the end of the pregnancy? Infants don't give a shit about your vlog. They don't care that you want a big nap. They don't care that you like everything perfect and everything in its place. Your world has to revolve around your baby because the baby needs you. How is she going to feed her kid in a healthy way when she can't do that for herself? If she keeps the house full of snacks when it's just her and her husband, imagine what she'll buy for treats when it's for the kid. So, the moral of the story is that it's a train wreck rolling. And that is why so many of us can't look away. I want to say that I heard on Priscilla P's channel that Alex was thinking about either stopping vlogging or keeping the baby off the vlogs, possibly, maybe, I don't know. And I hope that Alex does not use her kid for views. But since her entire adult life has been lived and vlogged online and she uses everything for content, we won't hold our breath. Thanks so much for sticking around to the end, guys. That's my take on Alexandra Rodriguez. And I can't watch her channel because she just gets on my nerves too much. So I will continue to watch my two faves, which are Priscilla P and Mama Goob. Go check out their channels. They're linked below. And I will see you in the next video.